Florida star Thomas Howell is staying in school, influenced by a conversation with Draymond Green of Golden State. He re-signed with the Gators soon after teammate Alex Condon did. That's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
Right now, 73 degrees at 10 o'clock, time and 10, brought to you by Bueller Air & Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Do you feel like the fans know who C-Rod is?
I feel like they do, but obviously never satisfied.
Yes,
so, we're going to keep working, keep getting better, keep grinding, and hopefully one day everybody know.
This is your captain speaking. Thank you for flying Teal Airlines. As we begin our descent to Jacksonville, we have sunny skies and a crisp 47 degrees. And Chris Rodriguez, welcome to Duval.
Taking on tacklers, Rodriguez, chiseling yardage, touchdown.
I mean, one of the toughest backs I've been around in terms of you hand him the football, you typically know you're going to get 4 yards. You're usually going to get an efficient run when Chris has got the ball in his hands.
Handoff here, it's Rodriguez again, slipping a tackle, and look at Rodriguez leapfrogging the defense.
Hungry runner, just a teammate, like a great teammate, always ready, didn't complain, wasn't a guy, politicking to get on the field with anybody in the media or anything like that. And I think it's cool, too, now he gets to go with an offensive coordinator and a head coach that worked with him in college and obviously has a lot of belief in it.
Good run, Rodriguez busting into the outside, chase down from behind.
Chris Rodriguez is in fact somebody that if you watch the tape, you understand very quickly exactly who he is as a football player, the superpowers that he taps into consistently. And, if you draw back to his time at Kentucky, it's remained a constant.
Once he gets a full head of steam going, not a ton of people want to tackle him in the open field.
This past year was his career year, 112 carries, 500 yards, 6 scores. Very different back than Travis Etienne. I would say a very different back than Baker Tootin, and a very different back than LaQuint Allen.
Rodriguez is the running back. Up the middle, Rodriguez, touchdown!
Why Jacksonville? I think, it's an opportunity. I feel like it was going to be the best opportunity for me. I know Liam, and he knows me, and I know the type of standard he expects, and I feel like we can get that done.
Now, Jaguars Today on 1010XL with Mike Dempsey, Fat Tony, and RJ Saunders.
All right, good morning, everybody. Draft day has arrived. Maybe not for your Jacksonville Jaguars, but who knows? Maybe. We'll find out tonight when the first round gets underway of the 2026 NFL Draft. Tony Smith, RJ Saunders here with me, Mike Dempsey. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
Yesterday was a weird day to come back. You come back and there's no anything, but let's jump right into the picks. That was fun. I love the media mock draft again. Appreciate our producers getting it all set up and just knocking them all down, and had a good time with that yesterday, Tony. So the question is, I don't know if RJ's playing that Chris Rodriguez open in memoriam for his. Oh my gosh, it's crazy speculation week, right? It's the last few days. We were all hyped about Ashton Genty last year during this week after being hyped about Mason Graham and whomever it was going to be. And then it was, could they really make a move for Travis Hunter? I don't know if they'll be willing to give up. I don't know if I wanted to give up what it would take to move up there. And then they did make the move, and it was, hey, let's push our chips in. This is going to be a bold organization. All that's fine. I'm not saying the Jags cannot make a bold move tonight. It does not make a lot of sense to me with this depth chart to make a big move for a running back.
No.
Tony Pauline put that out there early in the week that, what he's hearing is Jadarian Price in Notre Dame could be the second back off the board, could be the apple of the Jags' eye, could make a move to go get him. In his final 2-round mock, he had him falling to 56, or at least he placed him at 56 to the Jags. We'll talk with Tony today. But you, Tony, the most important Tony in this whole sphere, tied with Maselli. What do you put the need for a running back at on a scale 1 to 10 for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Relatively, really low for me, like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I'd say like 3.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I'm not saying there's one feature back on this roster, but I'm not 100% convinced that Bajal Tootin can't be that.
No, and I think if you can go back to a year ago, as you mentioned, Ashton Jeanty was obviously, we all knew, in play potentially for the Jags there at 5. Right, like that was a name that once we got to draft day, if they were picking at 5, I think we all thought that's where they were going to go.
If they picked at 5 and it fell that way, yes.
They made the move to go get Travis, and I was happy when they did it. I'm still happy about it, right? We'll see how that works out going into the future, but they wound up drafting 2 running backs last year, including Bajal Tootin, who's coming back, LaQuint Allen, who's coming back, and you can look at the room they had going into the draft last year with Achane now, and they had Tank Bigsby still, right? And so they were willing to address it even when they had maybe the in-house answers that were already here. Now it was a new group of guys.
Right. Did they feel at that time that they had the in-house answers?
Right. And I think, you sent me from the Ringer yesterday, right? The whole thing on the team needs.
Yes.
And one of the guys they specifically mentioned with the Jags on that was Jonah Coleman. Right, the Washington running back, and they specifically described him as a thick Bucky Irving.
I saw that, yeah.
Right? So they're attaching these things, and I don't think even Tony Pauline's alone in still attaching these kind of things to the Jaguars, even if I don't so much in my mind. At this point, like, I do look at it, and it is that low on my priority list that if they don't touch it at all till day 3, part of me is just going to be like, good. Right, that they're not using any picks on running backs until we get to day 3 of the NFL draft. But there's enough noise out there about them still being connected to running backs that if they do it before that, then I'm just going to be like, okay.
Right. I do believe that overall, organizationally, for me, no one has to feel any way. Feel any way you like, right? You could be up and down and whatever, man. You're a fan. Feel any way you like about it. But, for me, I'm going to give the organization overall the seal of approval, the seal of trust. They didn't knock it out of the park in the draft last year.
No.
Right? Now, Travis Hunter had it played out. Maybe he was on his path to superstardom as a breakout player after that big game against the Rams. And who knows? Maybe he would have been the Jags' leading receiver. Maybe they never trade for Jacoby Myers. And maybe it's a completely different outlook if we're looking at where he is going to fit in and all this stuff. But, and I'm not even saying it's their fault. Caleb Bransaw's a complete unknown for this football team, right? Wyatt Milam is largely an unknown for me.
And they, the coach was willing to say weeks ago now, right, the stink, right, being in the run game, we're all trying to figure out what exactly is that going to mean, right? Like, in practicality, what does that actually mean for the football team? And then you see some of the numbers. I saw them like coming out over the weekend or late last week that showed how great the Jaguars offense was in the back half of the season last year. The passing game was among, if not the best in a bunch of categories across the entire league. The run game was like 30th, right? Like they had real issues running the football last year in the back half of the season. So I can understand why they see that as something they have to get better at. And, you mentioned Caleb Bransaw a moment ago. For me, if they were going to pivot off of something they did in the draft last year in this year's draft, I would probably prefer for it to be safety as opposed to running back, although I don't think either one of them are all that high a priority for me going into this weekend in the draft. But the way they've talked about the running game, maybe we should take it as an indicator that if they're going to pivot off one of those two things, it's more likely to be running back than safety.
Maybe it is, or maybe they feel like Chris Rodriguez fixed that to some degree, and maybe offensive line is a way to improve that. Or who knows? Maybe they're content to wait a little bit longer. It's one thing if you sit there at 56 and Jadarian Price falls to you and you take him. I'm I'm still not going to love it. I'll be honest with you.
Which is what happened in Pauline's mock today.
Yes, but now falling is a relative term when you're filling out your own mock as well. You're trying to pair teams up with guys, and Bucky Brooks on the Huddle Up podcast earlier this week talked about, don't be surprised with the Jags. I'm paraphrasing here, make their move if the right running back starts to fall kind of thing. And who is the guy you would move up for? It clearly the NFL draft community is telling you, right?
One of them's going in the top 5.
You got Love going in the top 5, and then it's a huge tier break.
Yeah.
And then it's Price, And then it's a mix of Mike Washington and Jonah Coleman and you name the other guys, depending on what you're looking for out of it. Is it impossible, especially with 11 picks? No. That's not what I'm looking for, but hey, I don't run it, right? So I'm going to have my opinion one way or the other. I'm still going to root for all their picks to be the right picks.
Yeah, we saw one year when the Jaguars were willing to get bold in that mini move to go up and get Blackman, right? And that day after that was so much fun. The whole city was going nuts. And then the next day it's Brian Anger, right? And it's just like all of it was just like, what are we doing? Like, as you said at the time, laughing stock of the league.
They were the laughing stock of the league for taking Brian Anger in the third freaking round. They were. I mean, that was the probably the maddest the Jags ever got with me, honestly, from any comment that I made. So, anyway, today, all right, got a lot of things. Question of the day, presented by Chad and Sandy Real Estate, is this. When it comes to the Jaguars' first pick, will it end up being pick 56, or is it going to be something else? Here's how we laid it out. When will the Jacksonville Jaguars make their first pick in this year's draft? Earlier than 56? At pick 56, which they currently have, or later than pick 56. Maybe the board doesn't fall the way they like, and they trade back and accumulate more draft capital to make them more flexible in the back half. You can vote on that at MD_1010XL. Don't forget, at 1010XL, Fat Tony, and at R has no J. Good morning, Mr. Saunders.
Boys, what's the haps?
You tell us. Is noticeably different atmosphere for you now that the media mock draft is concluded?
Absolutely, but I mean, it's still draft week, still, around these parts, the most wonderful time of the year, to quote a Christmas song, but I think we can use that. It's applicable here in this draft setting, so, still an exciting time. Even though the media mock draft is over, the draft is still just beginning.
Yeah, well, let's hope that it will start to get further and further away from this being the most wonderful time of the year, right? Let's let January into February be the most wonderful time to be a Jacksonville Jaguar fan. But I get your point. So today, Tony Pauline, 11:30, going to give us like 5-6 minutes. If the schedule works out, he's scheduled to join us then to give us his thoughts on what he's hearing about Darian Price, what kind of value that would be. Does he like it? Does he not like it?
Yeah.
Also, Chad Ryder put his final 7-round mock together at the beginning of the week. He's going to join us in the second hour, but we're going to kick things off with Mike Drock from ESPN with his last-minute Jaguar draft thoughts, and maybe not so last-minute because, quite frankly, I hope they don't trade in the first round tonight. That would be my hope.
Me too.
I'm not saying don't trade up at all, but the leap from 56 to 32 is pretty cost prohibitive, and especially if they end up doing it for a running back. I've got my thought on a guy, if they do make the move up, who that will be. I'm not convinced I would pick earlier than 56 in the poll today, although that's getting over 50%. People think the Jags are going to be on the move upwardly in the NFL draft, at least tomorrow night, if not tonight, with a big upswing. All right, so today, if you want to get in, 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hit us up on the socials. We already gave them to you at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL, Fat Tony, at R has no J, or stream us at YouTube, on X, on Facebook, whatever you like. Just sit back in your car. We are one of those shows you can actually turn on in your car, which is kind of nice for a sports talk radio show. So Mike Drock of ESPN will kick off the festivities coming up straight ahead. Happy day one of the NFL draft. Even if your team doesn't make a pick tonight, things get kicked off this evening. This is 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Sometimes, when you believe the impossible, the incredible comes true.
Hey, is this heaven? No.
It's 1010XL.
Reminds us of all that once
Make Capital
good.
Glass and Shower Doors your premier choice for top-quality glass solutions. With over 40 years of expertise, their team specializes in commercial and residential projects. From elegant shower doors to modern frameless enclosures, they've got you covered. But that's not all. They also offer glass railing systems, glass wine cabinets, and much more. For unmatched quality and service, choose Capital Glass and Shower Doors. Your vision, their expertise. Visit online at capcoglass.com.
Jaguars Today, Thursday, is brought to you by
Cannons of Jacksonville.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
He used to lay the lumber on the field.
No, I'm not a quarterback, but I like eating quarterbacks for breakfast.
Now he lays his opinions on Jaguars Today. Tom McManus. Fridays on 1010XL. Opened by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
What if your next fun day out costs just $70 to play all day? That's exactly what you get at the Battalion Airsoft Arena, the only indoor airsoft battlefield in Jax. Skip the same old boring entertainment choices and step into real action with your crew. Perfect for birthdays, company team building, graduation parties, or just epic weekend fun. No experience? No problem. The Battalion package includes everything: gun, mask, and ammo with unlimited play. So lock in your mission now at BattalionAirsoftArena.com.
Stunning visuals, extended arrangements. Experience Pink Floyd like never before. Floyd Nation returns to the Florida Theater with the Inner Light Tour, a powerful, immersive live show with the music you love. Wish you were here, comfortably numb, time, and another brick in the wall. It's more than a tribute, it's a journey. Floyd Nation, November 13th at Florida Theater. Tickets on sale now at floridatheater.com.
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation? From a real person? Good luck. That is what's so nice about Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Unlike publicly traded conglomerates with headquarters in faraway cities, Mike Merritt's Heating and Air remains family-owned and operated by Mike, your neighbor. Mike Merritt has delivered hometown service, integrity, and pricing for generations. The big guys incentivize their techs to sell you new equipment. Mike's team emphasizes repair first. We only sell you equipment if your current equipment is worn out and beyond repair. And let's be honest about price. Small operations without much overhead can sometimes lowball your job, but you can't trust just anyone with a truck. They may be here today and gone tomorrow. Mike Merritt has been keeping North Florida cool for more than 3 decades. That's experience and dedication you can count on. Call today or see us on the web.
Florida license number CAC 050384. Picture this: steaks on the grill, drinks in hand, your crew gathered around a brand new outdoor kitchen. CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living makes it happen. From kitchens to fire pits, they do it all. CSSFireplaces.com. You dream it, they build it.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too. From Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Next time you head into a Gate convenience store, look for Form Energy Drink, designed to provide energy, hydration, and focus straight from Dana White and AB, celebrating those who embrace grit, discipline, and resilience in their everyday lives. Check out Form Energy at a Gate convenience store.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. Everything you need to know about the Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, draft day, whether it is for the Jags or not, we'll find out tonight. You'll have to tune in and watch. Although, officially no Jaguar draft party tonight. Not that they'd plan one. Things can fall apart. Like, what if you had a target and you had a trade agreed with Seattle? A lot of people speculate that, hey, that's the spot if you're going to move up. And then the guy you want goes 2 picks earlier, and then it's off.
Is D-Rock going downtown to get dinner from the Jags tonight?
I don't know. Let's find out what D-Rock's doing tonight. Mike DiRocco of ESPN, good evening or good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good, fellas. How are you?
All right, let me guess. Free meal, you're there.
I'm there because the media room is open.
Yes.
And James Gladstone is going to speak tonight
Correct.
at the end of the first round, or maybe in the middle of the first round, or towards the. Who knows when he's going to speak? Yeah, no, I'll be there. I actually have to. I'm helping out our Panthers guy who isn't able to work tonight. He's having surgery, so I'm actually covering for the Panthers too. So I will, be there doing some work there too. So yeah, I'm not going to stay home.
What do you make, Mike, of, look, who knows, right? I put it this way. There's buzz about Jadarian Price and the Jaguars, right? Tony Pauline puts that out there that they kind of covet him. He'll join us next hour. Bucky Brooks talked about the Jags looking for their guy. Don't be surprised if they make a move to get him at running back specifically here. Mike, this is a pretty tight-lipped group. They don't even take 30 visits, right? Who would know this? Mike, D-Rock, and if you know, I would never ask you to betray a trust, but do you know what the Jags are planning on doing, Mike? Because I feel like you're there every day, and these guys who aren't, do they possibly know that?
Well, I know that they're going to be there today. That is the extent of my knowledge of what they're planning on doing today. They may be working out in the gym. They may be in the golf, the simulator, the golf simulator in the facility. I don't know. No, I don't know what they're doing today in terms of their pick and all that other stuff. I do think that everybody talks. You know what I mean? Like, it's not – people think, oh, he must have talked to the GM or maybe talked to the head coach. No, a lot of the intel is gotten by scouts and stuff. Scouts from different teams talk to each other. They make relationships with guys on the road. They see these guys at the same schools all the time. So they have a good idea. So, some people in the media will talk to scouts as well, and it'll be like, hey, what are you hearing? Hey, what are you hearing? Oh, I'm hearing this. Oh, what do you think about this? And that's sort of how that stuff kind of gets out there. And that's the way it's always been done. So, I don't doubt that there's some interest, on the Jags' part, but this is – it wouldn't surprise me if they did it. It wouldn't surprise me if they set and stayed at 56. It wouldn't surprise me if they moved up to like 38 tomorrow. It's just that you just can't tell. We do not have enough of a pattern on James Gladstone to really kind of have a feel for how aggressive he really would be in was last year an aberration moving up for Travis Hunter, or was that just, a sign of things to come? We can say, oh, he was with the Rams, but really that was Les Snead's show. So I honestly don't know, and I don't think anybody really knows what they're going to do tonight.
Especially in light of what may or may not be available in the draft this year for the team. What should or shouldn't be taken from the Jags being willing to trade Mason Farouk over the weekend?
I think that was, I don't know, you look at that one in the context of, impacting any kind of picks. I still think that that's defensive. They view defensive tackle as probably their number one need, interior defensive line. I kind of think it should be edge, but that's just me. But, look, clearly Mason Smith last year, huge disappointment. He's not in their plans. So what you've done is you've swapped a guy, no harm, no foul, for a different guy that maybe fits what you want to do a little bit better. And look, if he doesn't work out, great. It didn't cost you anything. It was a very, very low risk, smart move, to be honest with you. You find the Falcons don't want somebody, and it kind of fits. We don't like this guy. You don't like that guy. How about we just take a look and see if maybe a fresh location will spark something here. So I didn't read too much into that, other than, we got a guy off our roster that we didn't really think was going to help us, and we got a different guy.
Mike DeRocco, ESPN, here with us covering the Jags, of course, part of the Jaguars Today fam. Mike, when you look at linebacker, where do you put that among your perceived needs for this team? Where do you think they would list that?
Yeah, I'm like I said, like interior defensive line and edge are my top two for sure. And then after that, I kind of think you could go wherever. I don't feel like that's a major pressing got to come out of with those first 4 picks in the 100, those first picks in the picks between 56 and 100, I don't necessarily think that it's imperative that they come out with an off-ball linebacker there. If one falls and they like them, great, but I don't think if they don't, that it's a major issue. I think, I know that they like the Branson Combs kid. His name's come up a lot. They feel like Ventrell Miller can get the job done if they need it, and if he's the guy that wins the job, so be it, it's fine. But I don't make it as big of a need maybe as some others do. But I do know that they view it as, look, we have to get better there. But I don't know if they rank it in the top 3 needs the way that maybe some people do.
As we already mentioned, running back seems a little noisy in this regard right now, but in your mind, D-Rock, what offensive skill position do they select a player at first in this draft?
I would guess tight end. I know that they would love to have another guy that they can use in those multiple tight end sets that Liam Cohen loves to use, and then that way they don't have to use, another offensive lineman. We don't have to see Chuma Edoga, reporting as eligible, or whoever Cole Van Lanen used to do it, come in and report as eligible. So I would guess tight end would probably be the first offensive skill position player off that they take.
Mike, when you mentioned Cole Van Lanen, it makes me wonder your thoughts on guys who are presently injured, and I'm sure they have a timeline for Cole Van Lanen, but how much do injuries with Caleb Ransaw trying to return, Travis Hunter himself right now, not 100%, how much will that impact any of their decisions, whether to, just get some insurance at a position, to maybe hang on to a guy like Walker Little in the case of Cole Van Lanen? How much will present injuries impact their strategy over the next 3 days, if at all?
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely a factor, but I know that they're expecting Travis Hunter to be fine for camp. Same thing with Jordan Lewis to be fine for camp. There's been no setbacks to any of those guys from what I've been told. Maybe Van Lanen might be a little longer than those other guys, but by the time camp rolls in, the 2 biggies obviously are Jordan Lewis and Travis Hunter, should be ready to go, no problem there. And I think it's always an issue. I mean, but you're always going to draft corners. You always want to draft corners. You know what I mean? Those are special teams guys that help out, and who knows, maybe you find out, you find a guy, a diamond in the rough type of guy, like a Monteric Brown, who was a late round pick, and all of a sudden now is ending up as your starting corner. So at positions like that, I think for sure, they'll probably take a corner or 2 in the draft. Same thing with safety. Ransaw. The thing with Ransaw is they're very confident that he can be a starting safety in the NFL, but he's never done it. And so that complicates it a little bit more. They have a lot of confidence that he'll be really good at that job, but there's probably a little level of, we probably need to make some insurance or take out a little insurance here. So I wouldn't be surprised if safety is an area that they address with one of those first 4 picks. But, the Van Lanen one is interesting because, like I said, it's probably going to be into camp before he's cleared. But they do have guys on the roster. Obviously Walker Little could start there. They've got Chuma Edoga. Wyatt Milam could play a little tackle too if needed. So they have some insurance there. But a lot of this is based on, too, who's available at that point, because they swear they're going to go best player available. And I would love at the end of this draft to kind of look back and get with them and find out, did they indeed really do that? Or is it more of a best player available at a need that we have, which is exactly what most teams mean when they say that. But, I would not be surprised to see him take another offensive tackle at some point in this draft, a safety, a corner. It's just whatever they feel like matches up right at the time that they're going to make that pick.
We know that it actually takes 3 or 4 years to know how good or bad a draft class actually was, right? Like you have to look back after some time to figure those kind of things out, but that's not going to stop us from grading it as it goes. So from that perspective, what does a successful draft look like for the Jags in your mind?
That they find a number 3 edge rusher that can work alongside Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen, allow Trayvon Walker to work inside on some of those third downs. They come out with another defensive tackle that kind of helps improve their depth there. They come up with another tight end that they feel like can give them some flexibility on offense there as well. And I do think they will take a running back. I don't know that it'll be very high, but I do think that they will try and bring out find another running back to go there. I think if they come out with some solid offensive line depth and maybe even another receiver in that big physical kind of Jake Bobo, Tim Patrick kind of guy, I think if they do all of that, then I would call that a successful draft for them.
D-Rock, what is the percentage likelihood, in your opinion, that Brian Thomas is still a member of the Jaguars at the conclusion of the NFL draft?
99.99999.
Okay, just asking, because their PFT just put out a piece that feels like it mixes reporting and speculation. And I'll get it. I'm not going to waste the detail, but it's, Jaguars may be trying to get back into round one. Well, we've heard that. And then they throw Brian Thomas out there as the possible bait to jump up there. So, anything's possible, Mike, but I just wanted to see if you had heard anything that would run counter to what James Gladstone said when he basically dismissed the idea that Brian Thomas would not be here. Doesn't sound like you have.
No, and that's why I left the 0.1.
Sure. We don't know. We can't control it.
No absolutes in the NFL, to be honest with you. But I would be surprised if that happened.
All right. We'll wrap with this. How many at the end of Saturday, when the draft is concluded? How many draft picks will the Jaguars have used? In other words, for their own selections.
Correct. That's a great question. I'm going to go with 8. I think they put some
exactly what I was
together.
thinking. Yeah.
And, maybe that, I don't know, that might mean another 4th round pick or 5th round pick, but I'm going to go with 8.
All right. 8 it is. Any guess on who the first name will be for the Jags? It's very hard. Like, if you had, who put it this way, who would you like, if the Jags stick at 56, who do you hope they get, realistically?
Oh, wow. That's a really good question.
I come up with one every once in a while.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Howell kid from Texas A&M. Is that possible at 56? Maybe. Honestly, it's so hard. Maybe one of those is Grayson Halton going to be available at 56?
Could be.
Defensive tackle out of Oklahoma.
Could
so
be.
Maybe one of those two guys. Yeah, one of those two guys.
All right. There you go. Mike Duraco, D-Rock, we will follow you through social media, your coverage of anything that may or may not happen tonight from Jaguars headquarters. Enjoy the free meal, as always, and enjoy speaking with James Gladstone.
Yeah, at about 11:30 midnight. We'll have a good time, yes.
Yes, it'll just be getting started, buddy. Hey, Mike, we always appreciate you. I'm sure we'll look forward to your hopping on with us and giving us some analysis post-NFL draft at some point next week, but thanks for the time.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good night tonight.
All right, buddy. There he goes, Mike Duraco. Yeah, there is that piece over there. Let's take a break here, Tony. We'll get into the details or the non-detail. A little bit fuzzy on the way it's written to me, reading this over at Pro Football Talk, whether it's real speculation or informed speculation or what exactly it is, or stirring the pot, which is quite possible as well. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, RJ Saunders here with you. Thanks to D-Rock. We got next hour, Chad Ryder from NFL.com, Tony Pauline from Essentially Sports, talking nothing but NFL draft with you on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here from my friends at Dandy Foods, locally owned and operated by the Thompson family since way back in 1956. 70 years of excellence as a First Coast company. I've been a Dandy customer for over 3 decades myself. I go back to my days in college. Dandy, you know what? Pretty inexpensive compared to all the options out there. They were for me as a young person or a younger person, and they continue to be that way today. Made with great, fresh, high-quality ingredients, locally sourced as often as possible, delivered fresh daily all around the First Coast, and the variety is absolutely amazing. No sticker shock on that pricing either. Swing into a Circle K, head to the Fresh Case, and look for over 30-plus Dandy varieties, sandwiches, subs, full breakfast menu, protein packs, salads, veggie trays, fruit cups, you name it. If you want something to keep you going that won't weigh you down, Dandy's an Ampton and Duval. So when you're hungry, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy and do it today.
Jaguars today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Superior products, exceptional service.
Overheard at the Hard Rock Bet Party.
I just got another NBA offer from Hard Rock Bet.
A Hard Rock Bet promo at the Hard Rock Bet Party? That is so meta.
That's not meta. That's Meta World Peace. Meta. Tell them about Hard Rock Bet.
Hard Rock Bet has it all. Live odds for every NBA game, every player prop, same game parlays, you name it. It's the only place I play these days.
Okay, now that is meta.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
You're locked into Jaguars Today Thursday with Cannons of Jacksonville. Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
On the First Coast, we have the backs of those who protect our community. That includes our canine officers out there every day with JSO and police across our area, tracking suspects, finding missing adults and children, putting their lives on the line. Canines United makes sure these four-legged heroes get the gear and training they need to come home safe. Join the 9K for Canines. Every step supports local police canine units. Sign up now at caninesunited.org because in the Bold City, we take care of our own.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care, totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. Honda going off-road. They've got it all. Two-wheel, four-wheel. What's happening, my man?
Man, they've got the Talon. They got the Talon R. They've got the Talon Live Valve. If you're looking to do some farm work, they've got the Pioneer 700, Pioneer 1000. Legendary Honda reliability. Super fun. Dirt bikes, of course, always amazing. More podium finishes than any other company. Can't go wrong there.
And families love it when they go off-road with Honda. Check them out. Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency. CyclesofJacksonville.com.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call now for your free evaluation and see if multi-unit hair grafting or PRP can restore your hair. Call 904-777-IHRS.
My bald spots are gone. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS is the only clinic in the Southeast to offer all proven solutions to restore your hair and is now offering multi-unit hair grafting. One procedure, more hair.
You've got nothing to lose but more hair. I feel younger, I look younger, and who doesn't want to feel better about themselves?
This year, grow your hair back. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-4477.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focus, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Free power.
Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
I mean, look, it's scuttlebutt lion season, whatever it is, right? So reports like I'm going to take a look at with Tony here momentarily that don't come to fruition, you almost never look back on them, right? And so this may be the case with something like this. And that's why I wanted to ask a guy like Mike DeRocco, who's around the team, and we know what James Gladstone and Liam Cohen have expressed about Brian Thomas Jr. They want to find a way to more fully integrate him into this team.
Yeah, I almost wonder, we just had the chance to talk to D-Rock and ask him about, the Brian Thomas thing that we're going to get into specifically. We're going to have Tony Pauline on in the second hour. I almost feel like the guys who kind of get fed a little bit of this information this time of year.
Hearing the same stuff.
Right. Do you believe it more or less as you get closer to the draft, right? Like, how do you separate the noise from the actual thing that's happening in the league? Like, I think that's really difficult to try to discern at any time.
Well, in this specifically, I'll tell you in this instance how I feel. Let me just read the first couple of paragraphs here, all right? And reading on the air is not great. But last year, the Jags gave up this year's first-round pick as part of the effort to move up 3 spots to get Travis Hunter. This year, the Jags may be using a prior first-round pick to get another one. That's paragraph 1. Maybe. Yep. Second paragraph, this is over at Pro Football Talk. As the draft approaches, we are told that the Jaguars may be trying to lay the foundation for a potential trade into the bottom of round 1. Period. Next sentence. The potential bait could include receiver Brian Thomas Jr. Are you hearing that it could include Brian Thomas Jr.? Now, the first part of that, may be trying to lay the foundation. You don't have to have a source with the Jags. If the Jags are talking to other teams and some team has a connection with a leaky mouth and says, hey, by the way, man, the Jags, everybody knows they're calling around every team from 25 to 32, trying to gauge the price. It's tough to keep that bottled in because you've got multiple teams potentially out there. What are the different cutoffs? So even if it's just Seattle, right, and they're trying to get to pick 32 potentially, if there's a source in Seattle that goes, yeah, man, the Jags have been calling us, they're among the teams that have been gauging our interest. And that can be legitimate. You can source that out, even if the Jags themselves are airtight and tight-lipped about the whole thing. Right. So I don't know, but I know what your point is. When you start to hear that, is it something that they want out there?
Like, who's trying to get something out there right now to try to move some things around if they feel like they can? And I do think, at least with a story like this with Brian Thomas Jr., I think it kind of matches, if it's going to happen the way that it would have to happen. I don't think the Jags are selling Brian Thomas Jr. I think if teams are trying to figure out if they can get Brian Thomas Jr., they can call the Jags. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to be interested. As we talked about when this came up the first time, first-round pick is what I need back, right? Before I even start listening to what you have to say about what you're willing to offer for Brian Thomas Jr. So if it's going to happen, I think it would have to look like something like that. And a team, especially late in the first round tonight, being willing to give up their first-round pick for Brian Thomas Jr., I think would be where those kind of discussions would have to begin.
And in the PFT piece, it even towards the end, I'm skipping a lot of stuff in the middle here. And, you know, if you want to read it for yourself. You want to ignore it, that's totally up to you, and find out what happens over the next couple of days. But that's exactly what it says. Much of it depends on whether a player the Jags covet is available as the first round moves past the first 20 picks or so, obviously, and whether there's a team in that window that would prefer to trade its first round pick for Thomas. This is not saying Brian Thomas plus 56 plus 81, whatever.
Straight up.
This is suggesting, now, you go back, well, James Gladstone called it fraudulent, right? And he did. There was a report that the Jags were entertaining offers. I'm asking you, this is the middle of March, Tony.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, is there semantics at play here? Entertaining offers is not the same as, do you have any interest in Brian Thomas Jr., right? But Gladstone went on to say, via D-Rock's own reporting, that I know the word reputable came up earlier in terms of reputable claims. He goes, I don't think there's been any reputable statement that the Jags were shopping Thomas. We don't have any real action on any of those fronts. And you think back to where we landed at the end of the season, where our passing attack was, we have no interest in disrupting that momentum. That seems like a pretty firm, he's a part of what we're trying to build going forward. That being said, if you thought you could get a good receiver at 56, you like the depth, and that's one position there's supposedly depth at, and you coveted Peter Woods out of Clemson, right? For instance, defensive tackle, and you thought there was a drop-off.
If he's the one that this year they were hunting up at that
if
spot.
That's the guy, and you said, hey, Brian Thomas for Peter Woods, we'll get our one of our defensive tackle starters of the future. Yeah. We'll address wide receiver in a deeper wide receiver draft a little bit later, even though we're not trying to move off Brian Thomas if he is the piece. I don't think that's like a betrayal of anything that James Gladstone said. I think there's a lot of moving pieces to all this out there. But the bottom line is there is definitely buzz, whether it's what the Jags want out there and they created it themselves, or it's just getting out that they're at least exploring their options, which a team that made that aggressive deal last year, you'd expect to explore their options.
Yeah, shopping and listening are two different things. Like, I don't know, were the Tennessee Titans shopping A.J. Brown in 2022? Or did they listen to an offer?
I don't remember.
Right, that was made. I remember they were right in the middle of the first round. I think it was a first and third round pick that year that Philadelphia wound up giving up for him. Right, when everything was said and done, there to Tennessee. I don't remember how noisy any of that was going into the draft that year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like when I was watching that night on draft coverage, I was like, what? Like when it happened, I was like, whoa, that's a big move, especially for a Tennessee team that still hadn't found anything close to resembling A.J. Brown.
By the way, you think A.J. will be visiting Vrabel in rehab for the laughable report about he and Diana Rossini? He's now so laughable. He's going to rehab on Saturday.
Yeah.
He's not even going to be there for the third day of the draft.
Yeah. Tough
But this is not a distraction, right? What a joke.
Okay.
Anyway, the final piece, going back to the report from a little over a month ago.
Yeah.
Statement from Gladstone. We look forward to continuing to build off where we left things and know that Brian Thomas is a big piece to that puzzle, and we don't want that disrupted at any time. So that's what he said then.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. And again, I'm not saying that this report is true. I'm just saying these are the kind of things,
It's a noisy day.
Yeah. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I want it to accurately reflect, what the Jags are up to. And maybe, look, I'm not going to tell you I have any clue what they're going to do. Are they going to trade in the first round? Are they going to stand pat? I don't know. I'll make my guess a little bit later on. But in terms of when the first pick will be executed by this team.
Sure.
But I didn't have any particular insight into Travis Hunter. And I don't think many did last year.
No, it's a stock market day around the NFL. It's the only one. This weekend is it. Basically the year, a little bit at the trade deadline, but this weekend with the draft is it. Buy, sell, buy, sell. Everyone's showing all of it all day long. We'll see what turns out to be signal and what turns out to be noise.
All right, we'll come back. Tony will take us around the rest of the NFL coming up as the next hour. Chad Ryder from NFL.com, Tony Pauline from Essentially Sports talking draft with a Jags angle to it right here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
I'm Frank Frangie. Our show will be live from Mr. Chubby's in Ponte Vedra talking NFL draft and a whole lot more. So come out and join us from 4 to 6 Friday for $12 select buckets of beer and $5 fireballs. This Friday at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra.
For 25 years, Instant Keys has been the go-to locksmith service for car keys, transponders, and even high-tech smart locks. For honest, professional locksmith service,
Instant Keys comes to you. Jaguars Today Thursday is hitched to Cannons of Jacksonville for all your towing needs.
It's Mike Dempsey. If you're thinking about a bathroom upgrade, maybe turning that old tub into a safer walk-in shower, check out 5 Star Bath Solutions. I shopped around, talked to several companies, and I chose 5 Star because their customer service was simply incredible. Responsive, honest, upfront about the entire project, and their pricing was even better than expected. When you're ready for a fresh look, better comfort, and a bathroom space you'll love using every day, schedule your free consultation at 5starbathsolutions.com and get the 5-star experience.
Explore the mind of a quarterback with our QB guru.
We want to take you into the lab so you can learn more about the science of quarterbacking.
Denny Thompson is the Quarterback Whisperer, driven by George Moore Chevrolet. Friday mornings on The Drill on 1010XL.
Hey, I've got that craving again. How about some Mr. Chubby's wings?
Have you had the Chubby style wings? Grilled to perfection with Chubby's secret seasoning.
You know I have. They are so delicious. I swear you can't find anywhere in town with better wings and better prices on drinks.
So many different specials each night, too. Well, I'm ready to chub it up again.
Me too.
See all their specials at MrChubby'sWings.com. Locations on Fleming Island, the West Side, and Ponte Vedra Beach. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
The Purple Heart isn't just a name. It represents service, discipline, and earning trust. At Purple Heart Pools, that standard shows up most in pool renovations. If your pool is outdated or worn down, now's the time to upgrade. So when summer arrives, your pool is ready. From new finishes and tile to decking, lighting, and full transformations, every upgrade is handled with precision and attention to detail. Purple Heart Pools. Pool renovations done right.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy. Why so glum?
Stinky ice cubes, Jason. It's all downhill from here.
What?
The tap water at my place smells kind of funky. Funky tap water makes funky ice cubes. I meet a nice girl, invite her back to my place for a cocktail, and blow my whole romantic gesture with a mojito that smells like dog's feet.
Wait, I can totally make you way cooler.
I'm not taking your charity ice cubes, Jason. I have my pride.
Your pride is safe. Our plumbers can be at your house the day you call and install a whole home water purification system. Water tastes better, dishes come out cleaner, even your hair feels better after you shower.
Ooh, the ladies love a man with soft hair, don't they, Jason?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend every day worried about the water in your own home, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
Oh, Steely Dan right there from RJ Saunders. All right, we're going to go to the phones here in a moment. Next hour, Chad Ryder from NFL.com. Tony Pauline, Essentially Sports, will be our final correspondence before the actual draft gets underway. Don't forget Tom McManus back in studio with us tomorrow. But first, Tony Smith, why don't you catch us up around the rest of the NFL?
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Dallas Executive Vice President Stephen Jones said that the team will not hold contract talks about a long-term deal with wide receiver George Pickens. The Cowboys used the non-exclusive franchise tag on Pickens, who has not signed that tender yet. The two sides have until July 15 to work out a long-term deal, or Pickens would have to play under the terms of the tag if he remains in Dallas. NFL teams received a letter yesterday regarding Caleb Banks, stating that he underwent a CT scan on Tuesday and that he is on pace to be fully cleared for football activities in early June, which was the timetable we've been hearing for a while now. Yeah. But he's just trying to confirm that once again as we are on the eve of the draft.
All right, there you go. And plenty from the rest of the National Football League tonight as well. Yeah. I really do, me personally, hope it's a quiet night for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But we'll see how it all ends up. It's exciting if they make a bold move. Is it the right one? Well, they'll think it is, or they wouldn't make it, right? So we'll find out. 641-1010 gets you on board on the Key Buick GMC phone lines. John on the west side gets in next. Hello, John. How are you?
Hey, happy draft day, guys.
Same to you.
I'm probably going to make a jerk of myself, but what the heck? That's what the platform's for, right?
Yes, I do it every day, bro.
But this regime takes no prisoners, and I just got we got 3 third-round picks. I think they're going to bundle them up and try to get back into the first, because we were one good defensive player from getting to the AFC Championship, and I think that's going to be a top priority, pass rush, or defensive line. And I just got that feeling they're going to package them up and move into the first. That's just my opinion. I may call tomorrow and have a crow sandwich, but that's just what I thought.
That's fine, man. Bro, there's no, we're all guessing to a large degree. Anybody who says that they're not is generally full of it. So, I will say this. I remember once upon a time, around 2008, Tony, Jags felt like they were one defensive player away. Let's package up a bunch of stuff and go get Derek Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
And push this thing across the finish line. And that was a catastrophic mistake by this organization. So now, granted, different people in charge, and we trust them more. But man, packaging up what it's going to take to get in there, at a minimum, you're talking probably at the second rounder, one of those thirds. Like somebody asked, is it possible to get a pick earlier than 56 without touching 56? Well, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr.
You're going to, right, Brian Thomas Jr. Or perhaps, I mean, they were talking about in terms of packaging of later stuff.
Yeah.
What do you want to, do you want to leave yourself rounds without a pick? I mean, I don't know. I get it. You build up this capital to utilize it.
Just looking at the draft value chart that I typically use when we start talking about this stuff, I have no idea like what they're looking at inside in NFL buildings, and I do think the math on all this stuff changes once you get into the draft. Like teams are willing to do different things once they're in the heat of the moment. But if you look at all three of the Jaguars' third-round picks, if you bundle all of them together on the chart, it would get you to 47. Right? Like, that's if you bundle all those, it would give you the pick at 47. You'd still have 56.
Right.
Obviously, at that point.
But you'd have those other three picks would be gone.
Yeah, the next pick you'd have would be 124. So it would be 56 to 124.
All right, so almost 70 pick gap, over 2 rounds. Look, could it be worth it?
It's bold.
It could be worth it, right? I don't know. I'm not suggesting it is. Here's the what I should have asked as a follow-up. Who is that? What position are you talking about for that one defensive player away?
Right.
Is it a safety? Is it a defensive tackle? Is it an edge rusher? Is it a linebacker? Which one?
Right.
Are we, if it's not linebacker, okay, so we're convinced that Ventrell Miller, Branson Combs, Dennis Gardeck combination is going to give us something approaching what Devin Lloyd gave them last year? Because, they may have been at the end of the year feeling like they were a player away. Well, then they lost their only all-pro on defense in Devin Lloyd. And granted, there were underlying metrics on Travis Etienne on why they wanted to upgrade the running game. But, have they replaced that? Is the running game as good right now as it was at the end of last year? Maybe more effective situationally, right? In short yardage, running between the tackles, things like that. I don't know. I don't feel like they're just one player away. And we say from the AFC title game, actually, they're one player away maybe from beating Buffalo and going to the divisional round of the playoffs. And then maybe you presume they would have advanced because they had already blasted Denver and we understand the circumstances.
Sure.
And maybe that would have been the case. But conditions change every single year.
Absolutely. Tootin was really good that day, by the way.
He was excellent that day. And, Buffalo's not standing pat.
No.
Right? They're not going to stand pat. Denver's not going to stand pat. New England's not going to stand pat. None of these teams are standing pat. So it's not like the line to where you need to get remains static. And if we nose ahead of that, now we're good to go. Well, the line may have moved up, several degrees. I don't know. I'm not knocking John's. He may be absolutely right from his perspective.
Sure.
And when you say one player away, it's not like, okay, we're just going to get up in the first round, we're going to get that player, and then we're done. You'd still add more. There's secondary free agency. There are trades that you can execute. There are all kinds of different ways to go about it, man. It's a beautiful time. I do like the uncertainty to a degree. It's better than sitting here for months going, man, we're going to take that fat kid out of Michigan, and it's going to be amazing. And let's talk about that when we come back, because Mary Kay Cabot's reaction from the Cleveland Plain Dealer when we asked yesterday how is Cleveland viewing this trade from their side. It is very interesting, but we're an hour deep. We got Chad Ryder less than 20 minutes away, and then Tony Pauline at the bottom of the hour coming up next hour. So a lot to do on the Jags draft front. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Intelligent sports talk with an attitude.
Stand back and observe.
1010XL.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
Jaguars Today, Thursday, is towed by Cannons of Jacksonville.
In the game of vehicle performance and reliability, Atlantic Infinity is always the top pick. This is Hayes Carlion. Did you know that every certified pre-owned Infinity is inspected, factory-backed, with a limited warranty, and gets the same championship-level service as a brand-new Infinity?
every mile will feel like first class? Check out their full certified inventory now at AtlanticInfinity.com or visit Atlantic Infinity off Atlantic near St. John's Bluff.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists congratulate the 1010XL Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Finley Scholes, senior girls flag football player at Fletcher High. Finley is the president of the National and Science Honor Societies and has been accepted at Florida and Florida State University.
Leon Serza here, your lemon pepper guy. You know Wingstop always delivers, and I'm not talking about their cook-to-order, hand-sauced and tossed chicken sandwich in your choice of 12 mouth-watering flavors. I'm not talking about the house-made ranch, so good nobody will blame you if you double dip. I'm talking about Wingstop that delivers straight to your door. And did you know they're open until 1 a.m.? So visit wingstop.com or use the app to get flavors delivered right to your door late night only at Wingstop.
Can't stop. Wingstop, home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
You know what homeowners in Northeast Florida don't want to deal with? 3 phone calls in the same week. One because the drain won't drain, one because the septic system is acting up, and one because the AC decided summer vacation started early. That's why homeowners keep one number saved in their phone: Duck, Rooter, Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Clogged pipes, septic problem, AC blowing warm air. One call brings the right team to your door. Plumbing, septic, air conditioning, all handled by one trusted crew. Call 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, the Checkmate Chessman.
At most companies, people start on the ground floor and work their way up to the corner office. At Checkmate, I started on the ground floor, and almost 20 years in, that's still where I am, making ground floors look awesome, one garage at a time.
Well, I started as a pawn and worked my way up to king.
No, you didn't. Some guy drew you as a king. I asked them to give you a roller, so at least you look like one of the guys.
Yes, I rather would have preferred a sword.
At Checkmate, I work personally with our teams to perfect the preparation and application techniques that make Checkmate floors beautiful and durable.
And I keep things classy with my adorable accent.
Beautiful floors?
Check. Guaranteed to last?
Check. The finishing touch your home deserves? Checkmate.
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com.
Hi, folks. Frank Frangie for the farm at Okefenokee. My wife and I and a bunch of friends just got back from the farm, and we had an incredible experience. We toured the regenerative farm, as well as the beautiful handcrafted cabins, and were treated to a fantastic farm-to-table dinner created by Congreve and Penn. Man, was it good. Well, you can learn more at okefarm.com. That's okefarm.com. And even hear my interview with farm co-founder Doug Davis to learn even more about this amazing property. That's okefarm.com.
When you head out for a night with friends or going to the big game, don't forget the best game plan to win the night is to designate a driver and guarantee a safe ride home. Hydrating between buds is the best play you can make. Bud Light, reminding all to drink wiser.
Jacksonville, you're on the clock. When your oil change is due, don't waste your pick sitting at a dealership. At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, there's no appointment needed. Just pull in, stay in your car, and in 15 minutes, you're done. That's a smart pick. With convenient locations, a 4.7-star national rating, and named #1 quick lube for customer service by Forbes, Valvoline is the easy choice. Make the right call. Visit the newest Valvoline Instant Oil Change at Beach Boulevard and St. John's Bluff.
Here's your 1010XL local sports update, sponsored by Battalion Airsoft Arena. Tonight's the NFL draft, and the Jaguars hit the draft without a first-rounder. Their first pick at number 56 as Cohen and Gladstone shape their second class. Florida men's basketball head coach Todd Golden addressed the media on Wednesday and commented on NIL support.
Our main supporters appreciate about our program is that we're efficient with their support.
That's your 1010XL local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
Right now, 76 degrees at 11:03. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Who's the dude with the man bun on ESPN right now, Tony? Is this a continuation of the wrestling coverage? What are we doing here? What is this?
No, it's got to be a former player. I just don't know.
Or a current player, for that matter. I have no idea who that is, but Yeah, again, D-Rock, we love him. I'll say that. From Sports Illustrated, we love Jaguar Report's John Shipley around these parts as well. 10 first-round bold predictions for the 2026 NFL Draft.
Here we go.
Okay. Obviously, these don't have to do with your Jags. Well, I guess one of the predictions could be Jags are going to trade in the first round. It is not that. Okay. That is not one of the 10. Here are the 10. This is from Mike Cadlick at SI. Said that the Raiders, this is not very bold, the Raiders will let the entire 8-minute clock run before selecting Fernando Mendoza. Bro, yeah, 7+ minutes of it, yes, right? They're not going to let it run out on them, but could you imagine if the Jets ran the card up on Mendoza? Oh, my gosh.
It's even more silly since he's not even there to walk across the stage.
Right.
But okay.
But they know they want their drama. They got to blah, blah, blah. They got to kibitz, and then, they're going to put the Raiders on the clock at like 10 after tonight, something like that. Whatever. That's boring. I don't care. Let's see. The Jets will not take David Bailey or Arvell Reese at number 2. And I think more the consensus is Bailey. Our correspondent yesterday went with Reese and suggested Sonny Styles will be the pick at number 2.
Okay.
The linebacker, another linebacker from Ohio State. A lot of Ohio State action there. Ty Simpson will become the Cardinals franchise quarterback after Arizona trades back, not up in round 1. In other words, a lot of people saying they'll trade up from their second round selection into the back half of round 1. And this is a suggestion that they'll find a suitor to trade back from 3 and that they will take Ty Simpson wherever they ultimately land.
Okay. Who's coming up to 3 to get what?
Well, David Bailey, maybe. I mean, or Arvell Reese in this scenario. Maybe one of those guys is enticing for somebody to jump up. And, I would think that KC is talked about as a team at 9 that is willing to make a jump, right? But I don't see a team outside the top 10 coming up there.
Well, it's Kansas City's kind of that atypical top 10 team where it's not like it's a team that's not put together to win right now.
Right, we're not here very often.
Right.
Let's try to maximize it. All right, so that's that. The Dolphins will trade up with the Browns at number 6, giving Cleveland 3 first-round picks. This is what I wanted to comment on yesterday. Mary Kay Cabot, we asked her from the Cleveland Plain Dealer, how is last year's Travis Hunter, we call it the Travis Hunter trade, they may call it the Mason Graham trade, I don't know. In Cleveland, how's it viewed? And she was gushing with positivity. And now, again, I asked her how it's viewed. And if that's how it's viewed in Cleveland, that's how it's viewed. Well, they got Mason Graham. And I'm thinking, and? Mason Graham had a half sack. He started every game. He had a half sack and 4 quarterback hits last year. Now, if he had come to Jacksonville and he had put up those numbers, we would have been like, what? And that, although, imagine if he had come here and the Jags have the number 1 run defense, which they did, everyone would have attributed it to Mason Graham. Right? Wrongly, because the Jags clearly showed they could be the number 1 run defense without him. Anyway, so you got Mason Graham. Well, then we got Quinshon Judkins, the starting running back. Yeah, he's been scandal-free. Okay, he's okay. He's a good piece. Yeah. Okay, and then he goes, and they got Dylan Sampson in the 4th round. Well, yeah, that's because you traded back and settled for Dylan Sampson. The Jags could have had him. They opted to go with Bajal Tootin, and then we'll see what the first rounder is this year. Yeah. I'm not convinced any of that at the end of the day is going to look like it's worthy of Travis Hunter by the end of this season, including what they get at pick 24 this time around. I don't know. So
yeah, it's still too early after the trade for everyone having been involved to not feel like they won so far, right? Like only time's going to tell on any of this kind of thing. So am I surprised that from the Cleveland side, they're like, look at everything we got?
Right.
No. Am I surprised from the Jaguars side? They're saying, look, we got Travis Hunter.
Wasn't it Cleveland also did that multi-deal with Julio Jones with Atlanta, right? And then they got, well, look at all we got. After 1 year, we got all these, and they were just names on paper because they all turned out to be garbage.
Yeah.
And Julio turned out to be a freaking star.
Yeah, it's like the comp pick thing that we went through once that was like in the air. It's like you actually look at the comp picks for some of the, like Baltimore specifically, they've gotten nothing from all the comp picks that they've gotten over the past 6-7 years.
Right. They're now, is it good to have them? Yes, in theory. But if you miss on all of them, in the end, what'd you really get out of it? Kenyon Sadiq, this is again the bold predictions. Kenyon Sadiq will become the Chiefs' Travis Kelce replacement. He's suggesting they'll take him at number 9.
Wow.
So that's not the team coming up to Arizona.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Love will fall out of the top 10.
That'd be wild.
These are bold predictions now. I'll give them credit. They're very bold here, and he thinks he may slide somewhere into the middle of the first round just based on positional value.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on the Love thing and have been for weeks, right? Because I don't want him to go to Tennessee. I'm with you. Like I don't want that to be where he winds up, but as a dynasty Scattaboo owner, I don't want him to go to the Giants.
In that regard.
Right. So
apparently they're freaking loving on Jordan Tyson right now.
Everything that I'm watching, I'm like, come on, Arizona, you need a back. Come on. Like that's where my head is right now.
You don't have many James Conner
I don't want to be doing the jumping around at 4 and 5 that I'd be doing in my head tonight if it gets to that.
Let me just rip through these, and we'll come back with Chad Ryder from NFL.com. Miami edge rushers Ruben Bain Jr. and Akeem Mesidor will both be top 15 picks. I think that was the case yesterday in our mock. Which is true. The Raiders will trade back into the first round to reunite Mendoza with Omar Cooper Jr. That would make a lot of sense, right? Comfort level coming in. Speaking wide receiver 7 will be selected in round 1, tying an NFL record. Again, these are SI bold predictions. The Steelers will trade back from 21, but remain in the first round and select their quarterback of the future. Well, you already said that it's not going to be Ty Simpson. So who are they taking then? Is it going to be just blank on the name of the Miami quarterback? Formerly Georgia quarterback.
Oh, Carson Beck.
Carson Beck, thank you. I just blanked on his name there for a second. Was Pelissero the one that said the other day that don't be shocked like if Carson Beck might get a little love in the first round? Anyway, so you can go check that out at SI.com. They're just fun. And likely when you make a bold prediction column, people are going to look at most of them and say, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's the nature of bold predictions.
They're bold.
If you hit 3 out of 10, although taking the full clock with the first pick is not bold. The NFL wants them to stretch that first one out, I think, just to get people hooked in there before things really start to pick up the pace. All right, coming back, Chad Ryder, 7-round mock out just a couple of days ago. And what does he have the Jags doing? What is he hearing on the Jaguar front? How busy does he expect the trade market to be? What would the value be of Jadarian Price, for instance? We'll get into all that and more. Tony Pauline to follow on Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Jaguars, Gators, Seminoles. Jacksonville's football station is 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Firehouse Subs is adding a new heavy hitter to the roster. The Chicken and Cheddar Rancher. Grilled chicken, melted cheddar, crispy bacon stacked high with fresh toppings and creamy buttermilk ranch. The Chicken and Cheddar Rancher. Only at Firehouse Subs.
Jaguars Today, Thursday.
Brought to you by Cannons of Jacksonville.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-4477. Hairforme.com.
Roll through the offseason with AA Automotive and 1010XL. The draft is coming. Who's headed for Duval? I'm all ears. Draft coverage is brought to you by Fleming Island Center for Clinical Research and Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
Credit card interest rates are now over 29%. Most people are only making the minimum payments, so they're getting nowhere. Hey, Prosser here, but here's what many homeowners don't realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit card, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. One client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 a month. Here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone. With zero out-of-pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn-out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. Rates are at a near 3-year low. Act now. Go to loanpronto.com. See how much you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's time to take your season to the next level when the Jaguars return to the bank in 2026. Become a season ticket member and unlock exclusive access to ticketed events, members-only experiences, NFL membership club perks, and more. Availability is limited due to in-bowl renovations, so don't wait. Call 904-633-2000 or visit jaguars.com/season tickets to secure your spot at the center of the action. We'll see you at the bank this fall.
When you drive past a Kuhn Flowers location, did you know their inside showroom is filled with gift items? Kuhn Flowers isn't just for sending flowers. Frank Frangie here, and when I need a unique gift, I head for Kuhn Flowers, Beach Boulevard, and in Ponte Vedra since 1947. Kuhn Flowers.
Hey, gang, Prosser here. Have you been thinking about selling your home and you haven't pulled the trigger? Let me tell you about Chad and Sandy and the experts that will help you make that decision. Mortgage rates have dropped. They're expected to move lower. Home sales momentum is building, so now's the time to get your home ready to maximize your sales price. It's time to call Chad and Sandy, the proven experts to sell your home. Need to sell now, need to sell fast, need max price. Check, check, check. Chad and Sandy have the science behind it. Using their proprietary Market Max system, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Jonathan writes from Mount Pleasant. The only thing standing between me and my dream of hitting the road in my RV was selling my Mount Pleasant home. After hearing Chad and Sandy on the radio, I gave them a call. The results were unreal. In just 3 days, I had multiple offers at full asking price. So can you. Call the local experts I trust and recommend. Call Chad and Sandy, 414-6200 or chadandsandy.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, draft day, whether it is for the Jags, tonight will tell the tale, but Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith here with you on Jaguars Today, welcoming back good friend of the program, Chad Ryder from NFL.com, one of the best out there, covering the NFL draft, and our final chance to chop it up with Chad prior to the NFL draft. Good morning, Chad. How are you?
I'm very good, ready to get this party started.
I bet you are. When does your first 2027 7-round mock drop?
Thankfully, we don't do mock drafts until after the underclassmen have declared. So I do not have to do any mock drafts until February.
Nice.
However, I do start my research on the 2020. I've already got a list, and I will be starting in a couple weeks on my research on the next class.
All right. In a couple weeks, we'll have you on to find out who the Jags will take next year at pick 32. But in the short term, when you put together your 7-round mock, how much do you rely on intel and buzz that you personally are hearing, your colleagues are hearing, or do you just try to put together a plan for each team based on what you would do? I know you have a lot of trades and things early in the draft. It gets harder to project later on. But do you pay attention to the rumors that swirl and that kind of stuff?
Well, in one sense, I'm lucky because my final mock was handed in last week. So I'm not reading all of these things that are coming out now and putting it together. My process is really try to get the top 50 guys in the top 50 slots and the top 80 in the top 80, et cetera. And then, evaluating team needs, looking at workout numbers. And of course, I've spent the last 4 years watching these guys play. So I have I have my own thoughts on where they should be slotted. But the other thing is, only some of the stuff that we're hearing now is actually going to come to fruition. These mock drafts that we put out for round one that are put out today, 3 to 6 of those guys won't be going in the first round. That's one thing I know. And I'm trying to get all 32 guys. And when you do that, you have to take chances. So I take chances knowing that some guys that are getting projected late in the first round will go early and et cetera. So, I'm a bit of a long shot gambler and this stuff. And I try to follow my own process to figure that out. So, obviously I hear things here and there that I take into consideration, but The fact of the matter is that they're 50-50 at best, even coming from really good sources.
Along those lines, Chad, and this can be anyone, anywhere in the draft class, with your having had the opportunity to look and think about this whole class now for months, who is the most overrated and who is the most underrated player in this year's class in your estimation?
Most overrated. Well, I don't know. I that's a tough question for me because I think it's really hard. I think a guy that maybe people will take a chance on that might not come to. Let's say that Caleb Lomu from Utah is a first-round pick. There's a lot of questions I have about his ability to stay strong against powerful edge rushers. I'm not sure that he's a great run blocker. He's going to have to do some work to get into that an elite starter mode for me, in my opinion. I think Jordan Tyson may end up going pretty early in this draft if these late rumors are true. And I think that's a dangerous pick in the top 10 to me because of injury history, because he's a little mercurial. But, I mean, he's talented. He's super talented. So that's where guys like that get picked. And we've seen a lot of issues that happen down the line with receivers that maybe have some question marks going in. So those are a couple of guys I would have concerns about if they went too early in the first.
Give me a couple of thoughts. We haven't talked much about first-round prospects when we've had you on because, we don't know if the Jags are going to end up there. But give me a thought on Peter Woods out of Clemson, the defensive tackle, and, where he fits in. Is he a first-rounder? And is there a defensive tackle cliff at some point? And does that change whether you're looking for a 3 technique versus a nose?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there are a ton of great nose tackles, and I think you're going to see them kind of come off the board early in the second round. I think that's why you saw the Dexter Lawrence trade. That's why you saw team willing to trade for Mason Smith. I just think you're limited there in terms of a guy that can both give you a little bit of interior pressure as well as being a run stopper. You can find run stoppers at some level, but a guy that has both is less than there's not a ton of them. So, and Peter Woods, I think, will end up being a good 3 technique. He just wasn't as productive this year, but he still did some really good things. He can, even though he's going to be a 3 as more of a penetrator, he was able to hold up a lineman in the run game and shed and make plays. So I think it's really a 50-50 proposition right now, whether he's going to be a first-round pick or not. And it's not going to surprise me either way because, again, the production just wasn't there. He's not that big. He's not going to probably play at 300 pounds, at least for the next first couple of years. So I think we're not sure about where he's going to go yet.
Among the nose tackle prospects that you would expect to get into round 3 or later in this weekend's draft, who among those names do you think has the highest ceiling in your estimation going into their career?
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see who lasts that long because of the lack of players, right? Daryl Jackson, Florida State, is a guy that's probably going to go in the 3rd round because he's really not going to give you a ton of sacks. His play has been uneven, but sometimes those guys, a switch flips with them, and especially if they're used on a rotational basis where they can stay fresh through the game. If you can get a guy like that in round 3, in my projection, I have him going just a couple spots after the Jaguars pick at 81. I think that's a reasonable selection there. Later in the draft, I think in round 4 or 5, you're talking about Xavier Harris, 6'7", 330, kind of big nose tackle, who could actually be Deion Walker, this year's Deion Walker, who really went in the 4th round last year because, again, of uneven play, not, always doing things on the field you want him to do in terms of production. And, yeah, he played pretty well at Buffalo this last year. And so Harris, could be that kind of difference maker if he can pull it all together, as he looked like he would a couple of years ago.
We're talking here with Chad Ryder of NFL.com. You can go check out his 7-round mock there at the website. And in it, you didn't have the Jags making any trades. You had him selecting Anthony Hill, the Texas linebacker, at 56. What's as interesting as the selection is the variety of players that were available that the Jags that we talked about could be interested in. Deny Dennis Sutton, the Penn State edge rusher, went with the very next pick in your mock. Austin Barber, the Florida offensive tackle, went 60. Jennings Dunker, the Iowa offensive lineman, at 61. Jadarian Price at 62. We've talked a lot about him this morning. And Malachi Lawrence, who a lot of people think will be off the board much earlier at pick 63. Hey, tell us about the reasoning why you think it fell that way, that Hill would be the right choice. And why do you, in my point of view, seem to have Malachi Lawrence falling further than most people?
Well, it's interesting because Malachi Lawrence was considered a 3rd-round pick, and then all of a sudden, after the combine, people are talking about him in the 1st round. And that may happen, but I have questions about when that happens. I think I wonder if teams won't go back to the tape and still end up putting him middle of the 2nd round or later. That happens sometimes. People will push a guy up because of a great workout, and he ends up being picked later anyway. So I'll be very curious about that. But there was no discussion of him being a 1st-round pick until the last couple of weeks by anybody that I'm aware of. So I think we'll see about that. But in terms of Deny Dennis Sutton, his film does not say pick me in the top 50. It just doesn't. Austin Barber, if they took him, that would be great because I think he's a really good value. The thing that I don't do in these mock drafts is project 2nd-round trades. And some of these guys that end up fitting in with a team the way, I could see the Bears moving up for Austin Barber to get ahead of the Jaguars. I could see teams moving up for Malachi Lawrence. But I'm not doing these 2nd-round trades because my editors would, wonder if I was going crazy if I started putting 5 2nd-round trades in there. So I think some of the guys I have later could end up going a little earlier because teams will feel like they have to move up for them.
We obviously will be locked in, laser focused on what the Jags do for the next 3 days here. But from a broader league perspective, what team do you think is facing the most pressure going into this draft?
Well, the Jets have to take advantage of the draft capital they have. It's a franchise that just has been not good for a long time, and they have to start using these picks to their fullest if they really want to take the next step. Kansas City, I'm not going to say the Mahomes and Reed window is closing yet, but they might have their hands on the window, getting ready to start pushing that window down if it's too cold outside. I think, and they don't pick they don't pick early in each round like this very often. So they should really take advantage of it when they can, if they want to start getting back to winning Super Bowls.
All right. Well, Chad, always excellent work, man. And we appreciate your many visits with us. And hopefully we'll be able to schedule a time with you next week or the week after to get your thoughts on what they actually do in the NFL draft. And let's not forget, a couple of years ago, Chad raved about the Cam Little selection by the Jaguars, and he has proven out to be pretty smart on that one, among others. So appreciate all your service throughout draft season, man. Hope you enjoy the next few days, and we'll look forward to catching up with you for a little recap.
That sounds great.
All right, buddy. There he goes. Chad Ryder from NFL.com. Go check out his 7-round mock, which was posted on Monday. Tony Pauline, as long as things haven't changed, will be joining us coming up next. Our final guest pre-draft here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for big number one Duval Ford. Look, if you run a fleet in Jacksonville, you know that time off the road costs money. That's why Duval Ford's fleet mobile service is a game changer. They come to you, job sites, depot, wherever your trucks are. You don't have to lose hours driving to a shop or waiting in line. From basic maintenance to light repairs, Duval Ford techs keep your fleet moving. Fast, convenient, built for commercial uptime. Big number one Duval Ford mobile service. Wherever you need them, they'll come to you.
Jaguars today for the renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Jacksonville's home for Florida Gators baseball.
Two of the nation's top teams spend the weekend in the Swamp. Find out if Florida can end Texas A&M's 6-game win streak. Friday night, Saturday at 5, and Sunday at 1 on 1010 AM.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. Thank you for trusting us for 55 years of custom welding fabrication and vehicle towing accessories. When you need a trailer hitch for the family car, a gooseneck for the company truck, or even RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We can do a bumper hitch, fifth wheel hitch, anything for safe, reliable towing. Come to Cannons of Jacks, where service is our #1 priority and we treat our customers as we like to be treated. Check us out online, cannonsofjacks.com.
You're locked in to Jaguars Today Thursday with
Cannons of Jacksonville.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Springtime is the perfect time to get your home organized. Hey, this is Lauren Brooks, and I love our closets from Closets by Design. They create custom storage systems designed around how you actually live. From closets and garages to entertainment centers, laundry rooms, and storage for any space and budget. Make an appointment to tour their showroom on Phillips Highway and get 40% off plus an extra 15% off free installation and 18-month special financing. Schedule your free consultation at 904-878-9393 or find them online, closetsbydesign.com.
Do you want to grow your career with a company that's committed to growing with you? Florida Home AC has aggressive plans to double their workforce, and they're looking for determined, resourceful people with initiative. Just log on to floridahomeac.com/careers to find out more.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, you have told us about buying better quality diamonds, but is there any way to start with a smaller diamond and use it to trade up to a larger diamond later on?
Frank, it's interesting you'd ask that because our founder, H.F. Underwood, popularized growing your diamond here in Jacksonville about 50 years ago, and it's something we still do today. When a customer buys an Underwood engagement ring or solitaire diamond pendant or a pair of ear studs, we guarantee they get the price they paid for it on the purchase of any larger diamond. Now, a lot of stores would say, big deal. We do that too, but here's the Underwood difference. We guarantee you get what you paid when you trade in your Underwood diamond, even if you're trading up by only $1. It's not that you have to trade up 2 for 1 like most jewelers ask. There have been literally thousands of people in the Jacksonville area who have taken advantage of our policy, and Underwood still grows a lot of diamonds for a lot of people.
Underwood's, serving excellence since 1928. In San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
The Golf Club of Southampton is gearing up for brand new greens and a lot more, and now's your chance to save on membership before the fee increase. Take advantage of a $1,000 savings if you join before the work starts in late April and before the initiation fee goes up. It's a great deal, plus $500 additionally in Pro Shop credit. Don't miss out. All the details are at golfsouthampton.com. Become a member now and save big. The course is in great shape, so head on out to the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and get on the tee.
Hey, Hicken here. I want to tell you guys about Lift Power. Lift Power, a Jacksonville-based business, been around for more than 50 years, family-owned and operated, and always on the lookout for good folks, experienced lift truck and dock and door technicians. The benefits out of this world: 401k, company vehicle, paid training, sign-on bonus. Offers so great. Come see why Lift Power has been voted one of the best places to work for the past several years as well. We want you to be a part of the family. Don't let this opportunity slip by. To learn more, all you got to do is go to liftpower.com. Check them out at liftpower.com.
La playa is Spanish for the beach. If you can't remember that, the word Corona also works. Corona, La Playa awaits.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
All right, your golden moment for today. It's draft day, Tony. That's It's finally here after all the hemming and hawing and months of reporting and speculation and wild guessing going on.
No doubt.
At least 32 picks will be in the books by the end of today.
Get your last wild guesses in, everybody.
Right. It's last wild guess time. All right, time to turn our attention to our favorite draft analyst.
Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
All right, Tony Pauline steps up to the plate one final time, bat in hand, to see if he can connect for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL at large. Tony, good morning. How are you?
I'm anxious. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm sick to my stomach, and a little bit of other things. Just waiting for this draft to get started.
Man, we are too, right? And it's a different position for us to be in here. Jags have never gone into the night not having a first-round pick, but here is where we stand. You created some buzz with a report. You're hearing there's significant interest from the Jaguars in Jadarian Price, the Notre Dame running back, expected to be the second back off the board. I know you, in your final two-round mock, you had him falling to the Jags at 56, but you were suggesting that if the price is right, he might be a guy that could entice Jacksonville to move up to get him. Just kind of flesh that out for us. What do you hear, and how strong are these rumors?
Well, the Jags don't have a first-round pick, but they got 10 choices. They have 3 in the third round.
Got 11.
They're going to take a running back at some point in the draft. I'm told they like Jadarian Price. There are some concerns or some people out there who've talked about a shoulder issue with him. I don't know. I've not heard that it's that bad to push him down. The Seattle Seahawks also like Jadarian Price, and they lost Kenneth Walker in free agency. I've been told that the Seahawks could take Jadarian Price at the end of round 1. Otherwise, the Seahawks would like to trade down. I don't see a lot of teams between the top of the first round, the top of round 2, and where the Jaguars select in round 2 that would take Jadarian Price. But they do want to add a back. They have all that other draft capital in rounds 3, a couple of round 5 picks. And I think, it could be a situation where if they can't trade them for picks next year, they may just have too many selections this year to move up and get Jadarian Price. I also mentioned that they like the back out of Nebraska, Emmett Johnson.
Yeah.
So if they can't get Jadarian Price in round 2, I think Emmett Johnson would be a consideration with one of those third-round choices.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you think it'd be more likely, let's say the Jags are going to make a bold move up and try to get Jadarian Price, would it be them getting ahead of Seattle at 32 or them dealing with Seattle at 32? What would be the more likely scenario?
I don't think they're going to move into the first round. Seattle would like to move back. I don't think that the Jaguars, I've not been led to believe or was never implied that the Jaguars are going to make a huge, put together a huge package to move back into the first round for Jadarian Price.
Caleb Banks confirmed again yesterday that he expects to be back on the field for whoever drafts him in June. Where do you finally land on where you expect his name to be called here over the next couple days?
Yeah, I don't think that helps. It's nice to hear, and it's good for Banks, but, you have a 300-plus pound guy who's had, foot injuries the past couple, within the past 9 months, if not more, that have sidelined him. So I don't think being back in June is really going to help him. It's going to be what doctors think, when they look at the X-rays and the MRIs of that foot. I still don't see him at best as a bottom half of round 2 guy. He only played 3 games last year. He was not that dominant at the Senior Bowl. He came into the season as graded as a mid-second round choice by scouts who thought he had the potential to be a first-rounder. The injuries prevented him from ever showing that. So, I don't think it's a situation where the foot injury is really holding Caleb Banks to be a top 35, a top 40 prospect. I don't think he ever was that.
Tony, you have, for the New York Giants, the way your mock falls, Arvell Reese going at number 5. David Bailey went 2nd. Jeremiah Love went 3rd. Sonny Styles went 4th. There's a lot of speculation that the Giants love Jeremiah Love. A lot of people do. But also that Jordan Tyson to the Giants is gaining some steam in some circles. If it came down to a choice between Love and Tyson, is it a choice? Would you definitely expect them to take Love, or might they consider the other option?
Yeah, I don't think the Giants are considering Jordan Tyson with the 5th pick of the draft. I would be shocked. I mean, this is John Harbaugh's first draft with the New York Giants. He's the guy in control. You look at the history of bad picks at receiver with the Baltimore Ravens. There were some good ones, but there were a lot of bad ones. Is John Harbaugh going to take an injury-prone receiver or a receiver that's been injury-prone the past season and a half with the 5th selection of the draft when the Giants are going to be called to the clock 5 picks later, and they could still maybe even get Jordan Tyson there? I would be shocked. I think it's going to be a defensive player. We'll see what happens with Arizona. Do they take Jeremiah Love? The latest word is Francis Mauigoa. I've heard this the past couple of days. Is back in the conversation there. Jeremiah Love, it would be a consideration. I think it's going to be a defensive player. The other thing that the Giants have to consider, granted John Harbaugh wasn't there, was they basically let Saquon Barkley walk 3 years ago. So if Saquon Barkley walks out the door, bites the Giants in the rear end, you're going to take another back with that 5th pick. There's going to be a lot of holy heck to pay.
What can you tell us about Georgia tight end Oscar Delp, whose name I've seen pop up in a bunch of different places a lot here in the last 2 weeks or so?
Great athlete, incredible upside, marginally productive at Georgia because they had so many good receivers. He also had, another tight end, a Lucky Lawson that he was playing next to. So I think with Oscar Delp, if you draft him in the 2nd round, in the 3rd round, and I think he will at least be a 3rd-round pick, it's a situation where he's not going to be really productive for a year or two, but you have to basically harness all that great athleticism into football production.
All right, Tone, last one for you, and we always appreciate your time, man, throughout draft season. You do a spectacular job. Folks can check you out at essentiallysports.com, at Tony Pauline on X. Let's say the Jags stand pat at 56 and Jadarian Price doesn't fall there. Who would be the best-case scenario of a guy that has a chance to be available at 56, knowing what Jacksonville's needs are?
Maybe Mike Washington of Arkansas, Josiah, the big running back, Josiah Trotter, the off-ball linebacker, who I think is terrific, would be has to be a consideration. Jake Galladay, another off-ball linebacker from Cincinnati. All those guys project into the late part of round 2. All of them, I think, are terrific players who will start. If they're not starting week 1 starters, they'll be starting soon into their rookie season, and they all fit needs for the Jaguars.
All right, and you've got Anthony Hill going before Jacob Rodriguez in the early 40s and tomorrow night, which is interesting. I see. Is the Jacob Rodriguez in the 1st round kind of an illusion? I see a lot of mocks, start to speculate he could get into the 20s, somewhere in the 20s. Is that an overreach on Rodriguez?
In my opinion, based on my board, yes. Could it happen? Well, I reported earlier this week that the Cowboys like him, although the Cowboys would be more prone to trade down from the 20th pick if they still own it and they don't use it as ammunition to trade up. The thing with Rodriguez is, I mean, he got a lot of great headlines. He's tough. He's instinctive. He mastered the art of the punch fumble. But when you're talking about a pure off-ball linebacker, a sideline-to-sideline guy that's good in coverage, the C.J. Allens, the Anthony Hills, I'd even say the Josiah Trotters are better in that vein. In my opinion, he's more of your downhill, 2-down defender. Outstanding at it, but, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, passing situation. You want him to cover the tight end. Could be a liability there.
All right, Tony Pauline, just excellent job, Tony. Hopefully sometime in the next couple weeks we'll have you back in when it works for both of us, and you can give us kind of a grade and a recap of how well you think the Jaguars did. But, again, we appreciate your service, as always, all throughout draft season, man.
Thanks for having me. I look forward to being back with you. And listen, enjoy Friday and Saturday. The picks are going to come fast and furious for you guys. You're going to be very busy.
Amen. Hey, no, for all we know, tonight, I wouldn't get, as they always tell us, don't go to sleep on the Jags with this new regime. So we shall see. Tony Pauline from Essentially Sports. All right, there you go. That's the final guest that we will have here on Jaguars today before the draft gets underway tonight, Tone. But we'll come back and look at today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. When will the Jaguars exercise their first pick? Earlier than 56, later, or right there where it currently stands in the 2nd round? You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for 5-Star Bass Solutions. Sometimes you just get it right the first time. And I did. I was lucky. You know what? I shopped around, went with a lot of different companies, and settled on 5-Star. We wanted to turn our kind of dingy old tub into a beautiful new walk-in shower, and man, does it look fantastic. They got the project done in just one day. Customer service reviews, I'd add mine to them. 4.9 average on Google reviews with a full lifetime warranty on products, labor, and materials. You need a bathroom upgrade? 5starbathsolutions.com.
Jaguars today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. 1010XL. Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Ackerman Urology has 4 locations for advanced urological care to improve men's health and vitality. Don't suffer the season with prostate, bladder, or kidney issues. Schedule a checkup with AckermanUrology.com.
Jaguars Today Thursday, brought to you by Cannons of Jacksonville.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about not being afraid of the crosses of life. Life can be difficult. Maybe today you're carrying a cross of worry or stress. Let me encourage you to remember that when Christ got on the big cross at Golgotha, he destroyed all the little crosses that we face in our life. He set us free from fear, worry, and anxiety. Our job is not to be carried by the cross, but to be carried by our faith.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
What if your next fun day out costs you $70 to play all day? That's exactly what you get at the Battalion Airsoft Arena, the only indoor airsoft battlefield in Jax. Skip the same old boring entertainment choices and step into real action with your crew. Perfect for birthdays, company team building, graduation parties, or just epic weekend fun. No experience, no problem. The Battalion package includes everything: gun, mask, and ammo with unlimited play. So lock in your mission now at BattalionAirsoftArena.com.
Hey, gang, Prosser here for my friends Chad and Sandy. What are your concerns? What struggles do you anticipate when it comes time to sell your home? What is it that bothers you? What's keeping you from getting max money as quickly as possible? Well, I don't know what those reasons are because I know they're all silly. Because Chad and Sandy have one down-to-the-line guarantee. Your home sold guaranteed, or they will buy it. It'll be at a price and a rate that you agree upon beforehand. So if you need to sell now, fast, easy, stress-free, and you need max price, then you need Chad and Sandy. The government's making moves intended to push mortgage rates lower. The last time rates dropped, we saw a selling and buying frenzy. Now's the time to prepare. It's time to call Chad and Sandy. Darcy in San Jose did. I wanted to move to a more walkable, vibrant area. Within 3 days of working with Chad and Sandy's team, I found the perfect home. They do it stress-free with a guarantee. Go to ChadandSandy.com or call 414-6200. That's ChadandSandy.com.
Hey, Hickett here. Oh, buddy, it's my turn now. TopDressing.com. Coming to do my lawn, baby. Look, I met with their staff, Salt of the Earth guys, locally operated right here in Jax. Heck, I've been troubled just like you by the St. Augustine grass since I've lived here. I can't wait to have their proprietary process go to work for me. I'm chatting with them now to get on the schedule. It's easy, and you can too. You want to truly transform your lawn, look like a golf course, call today for a free estimate, and top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. If you have a school, team, or group that would benefit from a team store, you're in luck because we now offer team stores. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Hicken here. See clearly with the Eye Associates and trusted optometrists Zachary Boskool and Alice LaFlamme. From comprehensive eye exams, dry eye care, glaucoma management, diabetic eye care, and more, Dr. Boskool and Dr. LaFlamme are dedicated to protecting your vision. Immediate availability at all 5 Jacksonville locations. Schedule today with Dr. Boskool and Dr. LaFlamme by calling the Eye Associates, formerly Bowden Eye Associates, Schneider Eye and Wellness Center, and Janet Betchkel, MD at 296-0098.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, almost out of time for us today. Tomorrow, Tom McManus will be in, and we'll see. You know, depends on what happens tonight or doesn't happen tonight, what exactly the focus of the show is. Obviously, if the Jags make a major splash and go way up there, Tony Pauline seemed to put a little bit of a tamp down on that. And by the way, to be fair, he did suggest, like, if he starts falling, the Jags could make a move up. You know, honestly, I would love quite frankly, Jadarian Price go to Seattle at pick 32 tonight. Just be done with it.
Right. Like he specifically mentioned the fit maybe for Seattle there at the end of the first round.
Many have.
Right. And then kind of the gap there at the top of the second round, he just didn't see a bunch of teams that'll be looking running back.
Right.
You know, between then and when the Jags pick. So maybe they get a little itchy at some point in there and decide to make a move to go get him if it really is. That's what they want to prioritize. But I think it's going to be that kind of thing.
I'm with you, Tony. If that's what they prioritize, I think that's the likely scenario. All right, what's the point where we can pay and not break the bank and we say getting him is more important than an extra fifth and maybe the pick 100, whatever it happens to be. So bottom line, will the Jags pick at 56 earlier or later with their first selection?
I think it's at 56.
You do think it's at 56. I hope it's at 56. RJ, what do you got? Before, after, or right there?
Right there at 56.
Right there. I'm going to say earlier just because I think I've conditioned myself that, James Gladstone's a bit of a riverboat gambler, and he's going to want to take a swing at some point in time. I hope it's at 56. I hope they show patience. If they do trade up, we asked you, kind of, who's the player you think they target? I covet Anthony Hill. I'm not the only one. I'm not some super scout that knows he's better than Jacob Rodriguez or Trotter or any of the other Golday, any of these other linebackers. But because you've got such a collection of names right there that at least one of those I think is going to be available at 56, that I don't think moving up for a linebacker is the likely move.
Yeah, and this is answering it this way the day before. Right, like maybe tomorrow when I have a better idea of what it's going to look like, right, like that kind of thing. It is having to anticipate a lot, and I'm so comfortable with about 8 to 10 names in my head right now at 56 that I don't feel all that antsy about it. And I do think about it, and I know it's a different guy, and no one wants to hear the name invoked at this time of year. But Trent Baalke, a couple years ago when we were going into the 2023 draft, they had 14 picks. Going into the first round that night, they got kind of jammed into, we all knew they were going to have to take an offensive tackle. They made the small move up to go get Anton, right? They gave up one of those picks, so now they had 13, made the pick that night. So at 12 left, going from that Friday and Saturday, and we said, no way on earth we come out of the weekend with 12 more guys, and they did.
Yep.
Right, like they weren't able to move again at all. Now, I don't think Trent Baalke and Gladstone are the same guy or play in the same kind of universe with this kind of thing. I think the Jags are movers and shakers, generally speaking, but it's hard to predict anything in the NFL draft. But like we said, get it all out there. Whatever you got inside that you need to get out as the draft begins, now's the time so that you can look like a genius or a fool. We're all going to do it.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to look like I don't know. I don't have insight. I don't try to get scoops. Yeah. We're not beat reporters.
Like, it's to a point where I don't even hold it against anybody.
No,
like anything they have to say, it's like, all right.
If you're taking your shot, it depends on how you're couching it. The ones who try to cover all their bases and go, well, see, I said that. Well, yeah, anything's a possibility, okay? I hope you're right. I hope 56 is where they exercise their first pick, and because then they've got those 3 third-rounders still in their arsenal, and they can do a lot of damage either moving up in that round or just selecting 3 more top 100 players. Peter Woods is kind of the guy for me out of Clemson a little bit that is intriguing if he makes it through day one tonight. If he's sitting there.
Jamal St. Cyr, when he was in with me on Tuesday, said small trade up to go get Christian Miller. Yeah. So that was his call.
Right. Yeah. And that's fine. And that could be a focus tomorrow. We'll see. Either we're doing react to this big swing the Jags took, or what are you anticipating for these 4 players coming out of tonight, or at least the 4 picks that they'll have heading into the second night of the NFL draft? Man, it's fun. I hope you enjoy the coverage out there in the listening audience that we all give you here on 1010XL. We don't know what is going to happen to these spots, but
idea.
I love the guessing game. I love the, why do you spend so much time on guys that are going to end up not being on your team? Because it's fun.
Yeah.
And what else are you doing? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, So we're gonna stop talking about 97% of the guys that we've mentioned in the draft process because they don't end up in Jacksonville, and that's just the way it goes every year. Right now, our work is done for today. Here comes XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
All right, Big Sirs, happy draft day, sir.
How you doing, gentlemen?
We're all right. I'm hoping we don't have a Jags pick tonight. I don't want to.
No.
I don't want to package a bunch. I like that 4 picks in the top 100 scenario right now, given the alternative of maybe it takes a couple of those thirds to package with 56 to get you into the first round.
I do too.
So if the Jags, when they make their first pick, do you think it'll be earlier than 56, at 56, or later than 56?
That would be enticing. Depends on who falls. You know, every year somebody falls. Let's hope we don't reach for anybody if we're going to give up capital. You got to be impactful, especially if they're top 100 players. Top 100 pick players have got to be impactful. Listen, if we get the edge, linebacker, and defensive tackle, I'm good.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I think
I'm good.
Right, I think everyone wants to see that happen. Do you expect them to draft? Let me ask you it this way: do you expect them to draft a running back before the 4th round?
I can see that. I can see them taking one in the 3rd, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not on board with it at 56 at all. In fact, I could run with this backfield as it is, but James Gladstone and company may not feel the same way.
Well, yeah. They've seen the film more than we have.
We'll find out. What's coming up on Primetime?
Draft.
Yeah, baby. That's it. All right, Circe. Enjoy it.
All right, bro.
There he goes. Leon Searcy and the crew coming up on XL Primetime. Tom McManus studio tomorrow. And who knows, depending on what does or does not happen, more added to the guest list or leaving it right there for your reaction. Love to hear from you tomorrow if it play, especially if the Jags don't make a move. We're going to be talking about, is there a player that you would go up for? You know, what surprised you the most about who's available, that kind of stuff. But anyway, on we march. So that'll do it for us today. Thanks to RJ Saunders. For Tony Smith, I'm Mike Dempsey. Tom McManus in studio with us tomorrow. As good luck to the Jags in whatever they want to get accomplished. Let's hope that they are able to achieve that mission and make this football team better. I'm not hung up. If Anthony Hill's sitting there tomorrow night, Tony, and they take some other linebacker, I'm not going to go crazy because, again, that's their scouting evaluation on it. But we've all got our thoughts. So for all of us here, we hope you enjoyed the program. Stick around. XL Primetime coming up next on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From